Hello everyone, welcome to week 33. Today I'm sitting close to beach and under the sunlight. It feels so good. So literally what happened in the last week in the world. If you are a person who only getting news from social media, it feels so hard to know what exactly happened in the last week. Because in social media there are so much information coming, so many sources, and we really can't make sure this news is true or false, this news happened recently or long time ago. But the funny fact is, each and every party, each and every organization have their own excuses to behave the way they want to behave. And I remember two major news that I heard last week right now. One is that AI companies are buying very rare books and they are scanning and getting that knowledge and integrated into their machine language. In the same time, those rare books are being destroyed. So in the future, when your children want to learn about something from those books won't be anywhere, only in the company, that AI company or that machine language that AI has generated. Only they will have it, and your children might have to pay for that AI company to get that. And regarding that same news, I saw that when you gonna copy some part of video from social media or from anywhere, and when you're gonna post it somewhere, then you will have copyrights, right? There are rules. But for those corporations, that machine language AI corporations, when they buy some rare books and they integrate them into machine language and destroy those books, no one comply with any laws, and we don't know even if there are any laws in the system that we are living in. But one person have said that even corporations, big corporations, are playing by their own rules this time as well. And the other thing is, Moroccan people are coming to part of France, Ceuta or something. I didn't know that part before. Then I searched up on Google, and surprisingly that small part is in the land of Moroccan land. The France was on top, and below there was ocean, and that Ceuta, that small part of France that belonged to France, was very close to Morocco. Now I was thinking, why Moroccans just can't give that small piece? Now why France can't give that small piece for Moroccans? And then I realized not everyone think like I am, and maybe Moroccans don't like to know, Spain, that part belonged to Spain. Maybe Spain don't want to give that part to Moroccans. If one of their leader wants to give that part to Moroccans, maybe their citizens will protest and it will backlash at the president in the country. So I was thinking maybe that's why that part was not belong to Moroccan yet, because it still belonged to Spain. And there was so much controversies. How come there can be so much Moroccans just suddenly coming to that Ceuta? Because the Moroccan army was the one who is at the borders in there. How come the borders were opened by Moroccan armies? And there were some people saying that because Spain has threatened or not aligned with Israel and US perspective, and Israel have threatened that Spain that you will face the consequences, and suddenly so many thousands of Moroccans have passed that border. I mean, that can be a reason. There can be some organized immigration happen at that time, so the media can highlight it, and it can be a backlash for the president of Spain, for their leadership, because they are not agreeing with Israel and USA. And it is happened before as well in Australia, when Australia doesn't act for anti-Semitism, that they call it. Then Israel have threatened that there will be terrorist attack in Australia, And after that, the Bondi Beach attack happened. And surprisingly, just like other attacks, the identity or license of those attackers was found in the place. Imagine, that happens in so many places in the world. And even recently I saw a Facebook post that some Iran or something is planning an attack, or maybe Hamas is planning an attack on Europe, just like October 7th, maybe on October 7th. Then people were commenting, the passports were already found in there. Imagine, the people already see the pattern. People already see the pattern. They can sense what is really happening. Who can create that false flag operations? But even humans, citizens, can't do anything. And I remember when the war between Iran is starting, when America is attacking Iran, they said this war will be over within a week. Now think about how long it has been. It's been 5 months and no one really knows what is going on, what is the real situation. When they start, they said it will be 1 week and people believe. Now what happened to those statements? Does anyone still talking about those statements? Does anyone still remember about those statements? When President Trump, before running for the election, he said that there will be no more wars. He will stop the Russia-Ukraine war within 1 day, within 24 hours. But what is happening right now? Still going on how many days? And he still thinks that he is the best president. He is still saying to the public media that he deserved the peace prize. Don't you feel like all this is such a drama? Over the last 5 months, there are many people are dying. Many resources are damaged. People's living is so much harmed, destructed. And how those people live. Imagine some leaders come to the media and say, we want to hit them hard. Hit them so hard that they won't be able to stand up again. Imagine the cruelty of those words when you come to the media and say we want to hit them so hard that even they can't stand up. Then why there are so much courses like degrees, diplomas about conflict resolution, effective communication, global studies, international relationships, law and justice? Why they are just teaching those things to students when leaders just can't follow those things? Do they don't have any qualification? Do they not learn anything, or they don't want to do anything, or they just want to continue war? Because the people who are benefiting from wars are the same people who are funding them for the election. Is that the reason? And before they are running for the election, is it a drama that they give us promises? They come to the media and they just give various promises. They will do this and they will do this. But when they come to the power, they follow totally different agenda. How that can happen? And people seems like they don't have any power after they have elected someone. Do you have to wait for another 4 years to elect some good president into that position that can really talk about peace and create much more resolutions? And even when the election is near again in another 4 years, there will be 2 similar persons just like them. They just give promises in front of media before 6 months for the election, and people will manipulate it and they will just give a vote for someone out of 2 people they show us in media. That is what happened in so many elections. Even from what I remember from 2005, that is what happened. In every election, they were given 2 choices. Before the election, before 6 months of election, so people are hyped up. There are no wars. They are more calm down, and they only focus about election. and they do so many campaigns, they throw so much money, they give so many promises, they are so hyped up. But as soon as elections end, someone gets chosen out of those two options that you were given, and whoever comes into that position, they will just continue the same agenda just like before, just like 10-15 years ago. And when the election is over and there will be 5 to 6 months or 6-12 months into after election, post election, some people will say, if other candidate come into this position, this country will be much better. The situation will be much better if other candidate come to that position. Is that true, or is that some excuse that we give it to ourselves to soothe ourselves? But whoever come into the position from those two options, those two choices, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same agenda that is running in the world. There can be slight changes, but wars, imagine there are so many people who benefited from wars. For 50, 60, 70, 80 years, so many people have benefited. Now, let's say industrial evolution in America started in, let's say, after World War I. So we can say in 1940s. It's been 66 years from 1940, it's been 86 years. From 1940, right? So at that time, imagine if few people have got so much money, they want that same income, same profit flow into their company again and again, every month, every year, to continue their lifestyle. So now it might be their second generation sitting in there. What they know, what they saw, how their parents make money is those same system, weapon manufacturing, controlling oil, controlling resources in African countries. Still majority of Europeans and Americans are controlling the resources of African countries. That is why Africa doesn't develop. It's not because of the people in there. It's because the Europeans and Americans don't let them develop, don't let them the truth to get out, because they are so dependable on those resources. That's the way they make profit. And there are so many children go missing every year. Those same children are trained into, like men, if they traffic young boys, they are trained into become serial killers, and those young boys are the ones who is working in those mines. They are trained to kill anyone without a second thought. When those people are put into those mines, they can still run those mines smoothly. And that is why billionaires traffic young kids. And the girls, you know what happened to girls? Either they become a servant of them or slave of them, or they get into modeling or something. And what happened to boys was they are worked in those places, mines, or they become personal bodyguards. They train to kill without a second thought, and they train that in from the childhood. And there are camps and other places in the world that you don't know about where they are getting trained. Because if someone has so much money, imagine what they can do. They can buy huge land, they can have huge resources to train or whatever. People won't spill a word because they are getting so much money. They are compensated for their effort, and their families will be saved, and they will have all the luxuries in the world. They will have all the fun in the world. So what else they can experience? And that is the system that's driven for few years, not few years, 70, 80, 90, 100, maybe more than that. But we are just living here on this earth for 20, 30 years. We only know what is really happening around us. We don't even know what is really happening in America. We only know what they are showing in media. For some person showing on media, that is what only we see. But we don't really know what is happening in the history. There are so many parties have their side of the story. If you listen to the story of Jewish, they have their part of the story. When you listen to the story of Muslims, they have their part of the story. You will never get the whole story from both the ends and compare and think. You only get to hear one side of the story. And right now in social media, there are so much information from so many parties. And we as ordinary citizens, we got to live as well. So we need to continue our work, and we give so much energy into our survival. We don't have time to think and take some action towards what we can do right now. And those people, millionaires, billionaires, always they think about how they can manage their money income, money flow into their accounts, always generating. That is what they always think about. So they don't care about the consequences. For them, if they have harmed one human already, it's nothing for them to harm another 50, 100 people. That's the simple truth. But this pattern cannot continue in this world for so long, because as humans, as we are part of nature, we must restore the balance of this nature. If we don't do it, the nature will do it. Nature will take into its hand, and nature will restore the balance, the way we live. When nature make it balance, humans will not have any answers. We just start to think what we are really doing. We spend so much money on buying luxury brands, luxury cars, everything, luxury, first class private planes, jets, so many vacations. But truly, does it make you feel better? Does it make you feel fulfilled? What if the moment you stop doing that, stop running, stop making money? For millionaires or billionaires, you can say they already made huge sum of money, but even the numbers, it will never end. And money should circulate. Money should be invested to make more money. So they are doing some gambling as well. So they are doing in big levels, big products like rockets, submarines, or big bombs, big missile interceptors, because it costs millions of dollars to fire one missile interceptor. So if someone fire one missile interceptor, that company made a profit. Imagine that no one fires that missile interceptor. How can that company makes money? It is simple as that. It is time for you to think right now. When you go for Boeing or Lockheed Martin exhibition about weapons, they have rockets, jets, everything. And just ask how that company, how you are making profit. We can buy that product, the country government can buy that product. But how that company gonna make profit? I have talked about this with a simple example. If you have a chocolate in your hand, if you don't eat that chocolate, you don't buy that chocolate again, right? So you have to eat that chocolate in order to feel that taste and to buy another chocolate. And that is when that chocolate company makes money. Imagine you have a rocket. If you don't use that rocket, would you buy another rocket? No. So that company has a demand to create more rockets? No. The company gets more money to create more rockets? No. So how can those companies survive? It is simple as that. Imagine how can those companies survive if no one buys rocket? So what you got to do if you are the owner of Lockheed Martin, if you are the owner of Boeing, what you got to do? How you may do your marketing? If you want to sell your product, there must be someone getting harmed. There must be someone getting distracted in order to have your product more demand. If your product can kill 1,000 people at once, your product will have more demand. And for two countries to fight, there must be a conflict of some ideology. But if I have Jewish friend in this side and if I have Muslim friend on this side, I don't think we have a reason to fight, because we feel like we are human and we feel we have the same necessities, same needs, same love, same pain, same hope. If I had a Jewish friend on left side and if I had a Muslim friend on other side, I don't think anyone will think that one of them is chosen. But with the media, anyone can spread their ideologies, and the same ideologies can create division between Jewish friend and the Muslim friend. And when you are more exposed to news and social media or any sort of media, the more and more you consume the same kind of concept over and over again, your mind start to think it is the truth, and that moment it creates division. And when some country attack another country, you already chosen a side. You either support them or either you don't support them. You don't get to think from the middle and think why this is happening, how can we stop this conflict. And that is the simple purpose. And media, who do you think have so much money to shape the narration? Who do you think have so much money to create news, to choose what you got to see? Who do you think have so much money to influence? You know the answer, but we are so stuck in our own survival that we don't feel like we can do anything. And not many people know what we can do because they only get to see the formal mainstream media. Most of the old people still exposed to mainstream media. They already have a charge. They already have a decision made. They already have a choice. They already have a side. If you are probably Australian, you took the Australian side, what Australian media supports, what Australian government supports. But that is not what you support, because humans have the feel to belong as well. So when you have given two options, the human mind just take one option to be safe, because that's their survival instincts. But social media is a very good place. You can get the perspective of both the parties, but at the same time there are so much misinformation. Not even in the mainstream media, there can be so much misinformation. There is so much misinformation. Even the media, how can you trust those people are really showing us the whole truth? Whole truth. Maybe they are showing some part of the story. So when we connect the dots, it feels like this person is really wrong, this person is really right, and it helps us to choose a side. And that is what exactly media does. So if humanity is evolving, we should have more legislations, proper policies to manage media. There must be, otherwise it's getting corrupt and corrupt. You can't let money influence what people see, what humans see. Right now media has their own lawyers. They know how to find the loopholes between the laws and still get the narration shape in the way that they want. Before they broadcast it, they send it to their lawyer, and their lawyer shape it in a way that no legal action can be taken. It is happening in Australia. Probably it is happening in so many other countries as well. Anyway, you can say this organization is bad, this organization is bad, this part is good, so we support them. In the end, some human is getting killed. Innocent civilians, innocent soldier maybe not innocent, but they are doing a job. Their brain is washed when they are so young. Imagine 17, 18, 19-year-old go to the army, and there are much more mature adults who are brainwashing them to fight for their country, fight for their patriotism, whatever, patriotic. Their brain is so much washed in order to hate some ethnicities. They say these people have done this much, so many bad things for our group, our people. When someone says those words for a very young person who doesn't have much experience in life, imagine his mind instantly take a side. Imagine that is repeated over and over again for years. They already have a belief. They already have a belief that I am fighting for my country. These people are not so good. I am listening to my leader. Whatever my leader says, I will just follow. And the current leaders, even, they can't manage their emotions. That's why the tensions are rising between countries. And when leader cannot maintain or regulate their emotions, that young kid who was brainwashed for years just go to the war for a salary, go to the war for salary to kill another human. It doesn't matter if it is Hamas or Hezbollah or American Army or IDF. It doesn't matter. It is just a kid who wanted to survive somewhere. That child went to the army because somewhere in his life he got few options, either go to army or either do trade course or either do some job, but he chose army for some reason, for some information that passed through his mind. And other organization, Hezbollah, Hamas, those organizations didn't start before their country is getting bombed. Hamas formed after their people getting harmed from Israel. Hezbollah formed after IDF is in Lebanon. There are images of IDF in Lebanon before Hezbollah is formed. And Hamas is built after so much destruction, so much fights happen between those few people. And later, some organizations, some people directly or indirectly funding those organizations, Hamas or Hezbollah, and they attack, and their brain is so much washed to hate the other party. That's what we don't see in media. In media, we see only Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th. That's the narration, that's the news that keep repeating on media, right? And most of the ordinary people see, oh, Hamas is very bad. They are terrorists and they label them as terrorists, so Israel can become the hero. And that is what the media shows for the ordinary people. And when ordinary people is given already the decision, these are terrorists, these are heroes. So we support heroes and we don't do anything. Let's use our tax money. You can use all our tax money to fight the terrorists. But do we question why those people organized? What's the reason for them to organize? What they really want? What they really asking? Are we asking the same question from us, or we just look at news, look at TV, look at news, and we just absorb what they are showing us? If you already have a side, probably you know the answer. You have your mind is already absorbed the information that is given from media. If you already have a side, if you take a side, these conflicts will never end. These conflicts will never end. It will keep repeating until you die, until you end your life on this earth. Those conflicts will keep repeating if you already have a side. It has happened in the history. If you think about your grandparents, from their childhood there were wars and they are not here now. But the same people who are making profit from those conflicts, they still repeat in that pattern because that's the way they learn to survive. Imagine an army soldier. He went to the army because he had two choices to survive, either go to the army or either do the trade course. And the people who are still handling those weapon manufacturing companies, in somewhere in their life they had a choose, either to continue this business, to become the CEO of this business, or choose another job, another business. But somehow their choices were to become CEO of those weapon manufacturing business. That's their way of survival. That's the way they chose to survive. And they have to keep surviving, and there should be more and more products selling. There should be more and more conflict. For conflict to exist, there should be more and more division, more and more narration, more stories in the people's head for people to support, to use their tax money to be given to those weapon manufacturing companies. So my friend, the question is simple. Do you want to die when still those fights are continuing in the world? Because they started this war saying this will be over within 1 week. Remember that. And it is now going for 5th month. Now I think it's getting for 6th month. They will stop that when they feel like they have enough money and to settle down, calm down period, so they can still continue. Look at the pattern. It is happening for centuries, and still our leaders and the people who we don't see, who are influencing and powering with money, those leaders, we don't see them, but they are there. Imagine how they survive in this system, and think for yourself as an ordinary citizen in this world. Do you want to die in a world where people are fighting for money, for marketing their products? That's a simple reason. You can argue. For a long time ago, people fight because they couldn't communicate properly. They didn't know other languages. They didn't know there were other religions, other beliefs in this world. When they couldn't communicate, the only way they can solve a conflict is by finding who is the strongest. But right now, there are so much education, so much knowledge. We are learning, and there was some other generation who learned about effective communication, conflict resolution. There are global studies, international relations, but still those same people take a side. And until we take a side, and until we think the solution is hitting them hard until they cannot get up, they will get up someday, somehow. It's in their genes. You can't kill one ethnicity at all. You only can come to an understanding and talk and come into an agreement. You got to see everything from the middle. The moment you take side, you are fueling that conflict, and it will keep repeating for years, and you will just survive in those years, and without you even knowing, you will grow old and you will die. And the people who still profiting from those, they will keep profiting and they will keep repeating the same cycle. But right now, we don't have to do that. We are connected more than ever. Our parents didn't have this technology. Our parents only knew what they were shown in the media. And so our parents' mind took a side. They didn't have any option. They didn't know any knowledge about how the mind perceives the information and takes sides. But now we know. Now we can think from the middle. We can think and we can come into solutions where how we can have peace on this earth. Humans have the ability to think and focus and do anything. If we human can create anything, why not we create peace on earth? If we can create a rocket, if we can create a submarine, if we can create hotels on Mars or Moon, why not we can create peace on earth? If you think you can't create peace on earth, that's because your mind is so much brainwashed from media, one-sided information, biased, or you are someone benefiting from the wars and conflict in the world. That is the simple truth. Humans have the ability to think and focus and create anything. So why not we create peace and die as humans on this earth, where this earth achieved peace at last. We have the technology, we have the knowledge, so let's do it.